Once again, welcome to my channel. It's your boy Alicia Stuno. Today we are going to be talking about EFI system. What is EFI system? EFI system, this is electronic fuel injection system. Basically, this is how it goes. There is cooperation of sensors, ECU, then actuators. First of all, we have to know what are our sensors. So here are our sensors. The crankshaft position sensor, the camshaft position sensor, we have oxygen sensors, throttle position sensors, and so many others. So this is our ECU because this is a learning machine. So this is our ECU. And our actuators, guess what? We have injectors, we have spark plugs, we have the fuel pump. So I'm going to be breaking one by one. So we are going to start with how fuel and air are injected into the what? Into the engine cylinders. So basically, we're going to assume that these are our engine cylinders and these are our injectors. So this is our throttle body, this is our accelerator pedal. So during combustion or during running of an EFI engine, there are some parameters that take place. So air is going to enter into the intake manifold through the throttle valve. So, but it will not enter in the throttle valve anyhow. So it will enter in the throttle valve according to the input of the driver. So the driver will press the gas pedal, and the more he presses the gas pedal, that's how the more the throttle valve opens. So the more the driver presses the gas pedal, that's how the more the throttle valve opens. But this reading will be taken by the throttle valve position sensor. So as air enters into the the intake manifold, there are some sensors. So we have the map sensor and the MAF sensor. So as air is entering into the intake from the air cleaner, the mass airflow meter will measure the amount of air that is entering into the what? The intake manifold. So as it enters into the intake manifold, we are going to be seeing that there is a lot of pressure inside the intake manifold compared to the pressure outside. So the pressure in the intake manifold will be measured by the manifold absolute pressure sensor. So this will measure the difference between the pressure inside the intake manifold and pressure outside. So we are seeing as the engine is running, pistons are moving up and down, there will be vacuum created. So that vacuum will lead to the suction of air into the what? The engine cylinders. So as air is entering into the engine cylinders, guess what? There are three things that are needed for combustion to take place. So there will be need of fuel, need of air, and need of a spark. So as air enters into the engine cylinders, we will need fuel. How will we need fuel? But air is just entering. So as the MAF sense has measured the air entering into the engine, it will send information to our computer. So the computer will know the amount of air into the intake manifold. So it will adjust on the fuel and it will make a correct air fuel ratio, which is 14.7 to 1. So as that correct fuel air ratio is made, it will be injected into the what? Into the engine cylinders. So the engine will run according to the input of the sensors. But yes, air fuel mixture has entered into the engine cylinders, but we also need some other inputs. So here will come our crankshaft position sensor and our camshaft position sensor. So our crankshaft position sensor, this measures RPM, or the speed of the engine, or the degrees of the crankshaft. So this will work the same way as the camshaft position sensor. The camshaft position sensor, this will measure the time when the valves are opening and the time when the valves are closed, the time when the piston is at the top dead center, or when we are at induction stroke. So the crankshaft position sensor will measure the speed of the engine. It will send the information to the ECU. The ECU will say, oh, this is the speed of the engine. Let me inject fuel according to the speed of the engine. So the crankshaft and the camshaft position sensors will send information to the ECU, and ECU injects fuel according to the speed of the engine and how the valves are opened. So we are seeing that yes, the engine now it is running because the necessary sensors are working. Now, as the engine is running, there are some things that take place into the engine cylinders. There is much fuel injected into the engine cylinders. This will lead to too much heat in the combustion chamber, and this will lead to detonation or pinging, which will be sensed by the uh, this sensor, which is called the knock sensor. The knock sensor senses that the engine is at high vibrations that will lead to excess damage. So if this sensor senses excessive vibration, it will send information to the ECU, and the ECU will reduce on the amount of fuel being injected into the what? The engine cylinders. So that sensor also works according to the how the engine is working. We are going to another sensor. So yes, now the engine has been running, uh, but there are some disadvantages or results which come after. So the engine will be needed to test, just like as a student studying at school. Yes, he has been studying very well, but he need to be tested through exams. So our engine will be tested through these oxygen sensors. Yes, the engine has been running very well. What are the outcomes? So these oxygen sensors are located at the exhaust manifold, after the exhaust manifold at the catalytic converter. So the first oxygen sensor will sense oxygen, or too much or less oxygen. Let's say it will first sense too much oxygen in the what? In the exhaust gases. So when this sensor senses a lot of oxygen in the exhaust gases, it will send information to the ECU. This ECU will say, oh, you have said that there is a lot of oxygen gases in the exhaust gases. So let me reduce, or let me increase on the fuel, so that the air fuel ratio can be balanced. So it will send, it will tell the injectors to increase on the fuel entering into the engine cylinders, and that problem will be solved. Yes, but again, in the exhaust gases we are seeing there is less oxygen. So the oxygen sensor will send the information to the ECU saying that our boss, we're having this issue. In the exhaust gases that we are receiving, there is less oxygen. So the computer will say, oh yes, let me tell my injectors to inject less fuel according to the amount of oxygen being received in the what? In the exhaust gases. So the engine will be tested like that, and that those sensors are the one that aid on the engine, or send the information to this admin, who will be commanding several actuators to do their work. So once again, I'm Ambitious Tuner. Like me, share, comment on my YouTube channel, and follow me for more on my YouTube account, which is Ambitious Tuner. Thank you.